Mr. Speaker, the big question this week is, can we believe what the Prime Minister says? So let us start with his credibility gulf over the election. The Prime Minister was asked this: hand on heart, if the polls showed a 100-seat majority, would you still have called off the election? And he said yes. Does he expect anyone to believe that?
And Mr. Speaker, I will take no lectures from the Leader of the Opposition. This summer, I will take no lectures from the Leader of the Opposition, who this summer was for grammar schools, against them, and then for them again. Who was for VAT on airfares and then against it. Who was for parking charges and then against it. Who was for museum charges against it. I will take no lectures from the Leader of the Opposition about these matters.
He's the first Prime Minister in history to flunk an election because he thought he was going to win it. Does he remember writing this? It's in his best-selling book about courage. As far back as I can remember, I've been fascinated by men and women of courage, stories of people who took brave decisions in the service of great causes, especially when more comfortable and far less dangerous alternatives were open to them. Does he realise what a phony he now looks? Has he found a single person who believes his excuses for cancelling the election?
Mr. Speaker, he talks about a clamour for election. I looked at the Downing Street website this morning. Certainly there is a petition. There is a petition on the Downing Street website.
Order. Allow the Prime Minister to answer. Prime Minister.
Certainly there is a petition on the Downing Street website calling for an election. It is signed by 26 people. And not one of them are the Conservative front bench. And Mr. Speaker, we will govern in the interests of the people, and what matters to the people is the health service, education, housing, and we will govern to make housing, health and education better in this country.
He's going to have to do better than that. Let's try another claim. Did the draft of the pre-budget report written before the Conservative Party conference include plans for the taxation of non-doms and the raising of inheritance tax? A simple question, yes or no?
I think if he looks back to the summer and interviews given by the Chancellor, he talked about these very issues. And I may say, we have raised the exemption on inheritance tax on 10 occasions since 1997. We have dealt with tax avoidance in relation to non-domicile and non-resident on many occasions since 1997, and we are going to continue to take the right decisions for the country. Now, it's very interesting he's raised inheritance tax and non-domiciles, and I think we can have a detailed discussion of this over the next few weeks. And I think he will have to explain to the House, as we will explain to the House, that on non-domiciles, there are not 150,000 non-domiciles, there are not even 115,000 who could pay this tax, there are only 15,000. And when the Conservatives start to look at the official figures, they will find they can only raise £650 million, not £3.5 billion as they claim. And as for inheritance tax, and again, I welcome the debate we're going to have in the country on this. I welcome the debate. As for inheritance tax, we can exempt estates below £700,000 by 2010 and put money into health and education. The Conservative Party are going to put £2 billion into giving money to those with estates above £950,000, £1 billion to those already rich. Now, when the debate is held in the country, people will choose our policies and reject theirs.
I tell you what, if you've got some questions about our policy, find a bit of courage, discover a bit of bottle, get in your car, go down to Buckingham Palace and call that election. The Prime Minister now tells us he was planning to change the rules on inheritance tax and non-doms all along. He is treating the British people like fools. Next he'll be telling us how much he admires Margaret Thatcher.